insights and help us understand more about the big marketing plan. Please welcome to the stage your panel, Ana Elisa Seixas, the head of marketing at ASICS, Rahul Sati, cluster revenue director at Suha Hospitality, Shah Hassan, CEO of Jerdoni. We also have Ketaki Shah, the head of marketing for Jollibee, and Rishi, the senior marketing manager for GMG. And your moderator for this session, let's give them a round of applause, is Sowmya Iyer, the founder and CEO of DViO Digital. The floor is yours.
Great, good afternoon, everyone. So to truly appreciate the value that Martech can bring for our businesses in 2023, I think it's important for us to look at some of the broad trends. I think the advent of AI, OpenAI, has changed marketing dynamics forever. It is expected that in the next couple of years, businesses that will deploy AI across marketing functions will in fact move most of their staff operations to just data and analytics, which means AI is going to take care of most of the production. And for those of you who've dabbled with ChatGPT, Midjourney, DALL-E, I think some of the results that we are getting are scarily exciting.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one trend that we've got to watch out for. The second is, I think the general economic climate that we've seen over the last couple of years has brought a lot of focus on bottom funnel marketing, right? First party data has become more important than ever. In fact, I see among so many businesses that loyalty has got almost like a fresh restart. There is a fresh focus on loyalty among many businesses. Though even today, I think it's less than 30% of B2B and B2C businesses that actually use loyalty programs. But given the way things are going, I think there'll be a lot more focus on loyalty. So with bottom funnel brand performance being in focus, I think what will become imperative is how are we enhancing the customer journey across all touch points? At the heart of all of these things is marketing technology, right? So to achieve all of these things, we need great Martech. Martech helps us, one, in giving feedback for product development, for targeting, for customer relationship management, for conversion rate optimization, social listening. I mean, and there's so many areas that we really speak about Martech products. And that's where the complexity lies as well, right? My conversations with CMOs, CTOs, is that while we have marketing technology implemented in our organizations, I don't think we're really using it to the fullest, or we don't even understand if we know what we are doing with this technology. And in fact, so much so, in fact, when we were discussing in the speaker lounge, ad tech and marketing tech is used interchangeably. Marketing tech or Martech is not a technology. It actually refers to a category of technology that is serving a very, very important business function that is marketing. So, I think while some of these words are used a lot, it's important for us to draw the distinction on what we understand as Martech. So given that we are in very interesting times, there is obviously this hyper growth of digital that we speak about, becomes super important for us to use the right technology, bring on the right platforms. And it's very challenging given that there are 9,000 Martech platforms available for us out there. So with me is a very diverse panel. I think it's a representation from almost all the industries. So I'm going to look forward to this conversation to understand how they are demystifying Martech for their respective businesses. I think, Paras, I'm going to start with you. At GMG, you are working through e-commerce platforms for so many brands, and then also your omni-channel, right? So there's so much data, so much more data that you're working with. I'd like to understand from you how did you go about choosing the platforms? What are the successes that you saw when you started to implement them? And also, what were your major challenges?
Thank you, everyone. It's great to see a wonderful audience here. Thank you, Sowmya, for this question. I think to begin with, the most important question that we try to answer is, how do we make the customer experience more favorable for our esteemed, valuable customers? The experience, the entire shopping journey has to be at the heart of every initiative that you plan. And I think right from you going to Sun and Sand Sports, searching for the product you're looking for, and till the time you make a purchase, you interact with our ads on Facebook or Google. On each and every touch point, we try to ensure that how can we do this better? How do we get our ads, our communication more contextual? And that will lead to the end impact. So for us, we understood that to be successful on Martech front, we have to take the data-led approach. So granular level of data is something that has helped us decide what to prioritize. Then there are these fundamentals. When you launch an app, you need to have a mobile measurement partner. You need to have a mobile engagement platform. You need to have a customer data platform. So these are those non-negotiable to have as a business when you're launching an app business. And then there are good to have Martech tools. Like you mentioned, there are 9,000 tools to evaluate. And today, Martech has become a commodity. Vendor A doesn't offer something very different from vendor B and C and D. So you have to be a trend spotter. You need to understand what tools are going to give you that extra bit of conversions, and have those data-led goals towards your initiatives. Always have success metrics aligned before you start a pilot, so that you're not shooting in the dark. You know if this was a success, if this is a long-term vendor you're going to work with, or this is more of a tactical and something that doesn't work in the long term.
And what were the biggest challenges that you faced while you were implementing some of these platforms?
Right. I think challenges remain. The first challenge is understanding your own brand. For example, Angami will see the number of people listening to music on their app drop, and it will pick up on the last day of Ramadan. We are very close to the holy month of Ramadan, and you will see most of the food grocery businesses, their revenues will spike up 10 days before Ramadan starts, because everyone wants to shop for everyday groceries well in advance. They want to be stocked up for their meals and the guests that they're going to have over. For fashion retail, for us, the real spike comes 10 to 15 days before the Ramadan, right? So it's important to understand your line of business, your consumer, because what works for one industry doesn't work for others, right? So one size will not fit all. So understanding your own brand, being that custodian, and to be able to say that this is going to work well, this is not going to maybe work well. I think that is the first challenge. And then building those right business cases for the management, getting those sign-offs, because you are able to quantify. This is the measurable impact with respect to number of revenue or the amount of profit that you're going to lead because of this initiative. I think having that quantifiable goals, setting them and aligning them is the second biggest challenge.
Just for my understanding, how many products are you using at GMG right now? Just tentative number.
So our Martech, we are having anywhere between 6 to 10 tools. Some are in pilot stage, some are already live full time. Like I mentioned, the non-negotiable ones we launched 5 years back when we launched the Sun and Sand Sports app.
Correct.
On the day one. So it's an ongoing journey. It's a continuous journey of evaluating Martech tools and bringing the right technologies for our customers.
Got it. Thank you for that. So, and here we're talking about a bunch of businesses that have certain level of maturity with respect to e-commerce, right, or digital data. But Also, I think many businesses are still in its nascency with respect to adopting Martech, or we're still figuring out. And I think we were speaking, Kirti, and you mentioned that you guys are evaluating certain platforms for the food and beverages industry. And for ASICS, you guys are going to go e-commerce hopefully in June, and I think Martech will become very important for you. So if the question can be to both of you in terms of how are you going about beginning your journey in Martech?
So, good afternoon, everyone. I represent the F&B sector. I would like to talk on behalf of the sector. We are late to the party compared to where the retail sector is. And we're not shy about that because most of our business is the dine-in, or of course, the home delivery sector is growing, of course, but to eat, you have to come to the restaurant or either order that. So yes, there is an e-commerce side of it. We are evaluating how can I make that customer journey better, right? For that, what do I need? Do I need an app? It's old school, I think, now. How many individual brands in this, specifically in this region, have their own apps and they're successful? I don't think we should even answer that compared to where the third-party aggregators are, etc. Having spoken about that, next comes is your customer data. What do I want as a marketer from my customers? Is the data. There is hyper-personal marketing that I can do. I want my own channels to be, the platform where I want people to order or come to my restaurants. Like you said, loyalty is a very, very big part of the whole customer journey. We as F&B operators, I think, or marketers, is there loyalty? Right? That's the question to start with. So we have our own challenges. Having said that, there's one, like you said, I don't think you should ask me that question, how many Martech solutions you use, because yes, taking that call, exploring, it again depends on what does your business need. Right. So I do need, for example, at Jollibee, we're using something called as localizer, right? Localizer, what does this platform do? It just gathers, it's more like ORM, but it gathers data from all platforms under one roof or under one umbrella, so that I don't have to go on TripAdvisor, Google, Talabat, Deliveroo, all individual platforms to see what my customers are complaining or talking about or reviewing me. So it's under one umbrella. It's a very simple solution. How many people are actually using it? No. I don't even have an answer to that. So yes, we took that leap of faith. We said, fine, let's just go and use this. It's helping me, right? So how does it help me as a marketer? I know what my customers are talking about. It's easy for me to reach out to them, even answer those queries. So that is where we are. I mean, like I said, there's at least a beginning there.
I think before we start the Martech journey, it's very important for us to know our current location as a business, and very clearly set out those short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And I think that gives us the clarity on what platforms to choose and what our immediate needs are. Hassan, that brings me to you, where, in fact, you were talking to me in the speaker lounge about what does it mean. You started your business in 2019, and you were speaking about what does it mean to be Martech ready as a startup, right? So at what point do you really start your Martech journey? So if you can just take that on.
Yeah, so in my opinion, there are obviously multiple types of businesses, like services businesses, but especially for the tangible businesses like mine, the clothing brand, and which has some products. So it's really important that before you go for some marketing tools and Martech technologies, so it's really important to be Martech ready first. In order to do that, you have to first manage your inventory first. Let's see if you have implemented your Martech technology in the house, and you start getting orders, then where's the inventory which you will fulfill? So the first thing is that you have to be Martech ready through your inventory. The second part is regarding your team, like whether your team is ready for the next level or not. Like let's say if they are first stuck in the basic issues like fulfilling your inventory, like getting your orders done. Once the basics are done, then you can move to the marketing technologies. And the important thing is that once you opt for a Martech tool, so everybody asks this question that which type of software you are using and which type of the software should we use. So obviously there are two type of steps, and both of them evolves with time. So whether like whenever you are about to finalize a software for your company, so the first thing you do is that you start Googling these relevant softwares, and when you finalize few softwares, you ask other people of the same same category that which software have you used, and once you implement that software, so there are like two ways: either it will be helpful for you, either it will not. So maybe you can have a R&D department which can they can try different type of software which will be more relevant for your company, and once you find the right software, then you can totally implement it, and from there you can start evolving your whole the process. So this is the main idea. Like first you have to be Martech ready, and once you are Martech ready, then you are ready to launch to the market.
Anna, what are you doing at this stage of your business, knowing that you're going to go into e-commerce? What kind of research and groundwork are you doing to be Martech ready?
I mean, it's a hard conversation for all retailers, right? Because we have to combine brick and mortar with e-commerce, and we have to create an experience for the customer. And if you look into the e-commerce side, and that's why it's taken us a little bit longer to be market ready, right? That's why for the region we haven't launched our own e-commerce site yet, but June is coming, so keep tuned. But the whole idea is that we didn't want to have a website that is purely transactional. We didn't want to have a website that is just, you go there, get a product and buy it. We wanted to create an experience for the customer. We wanted to be able for them to feel that when they're coming to the website is the same thing as coming to an ASICS store where you have someone that can advise you on what's, we do running shoes mostly, tennis shoes. But a lot of people think that you can just go there, and me also, when I started my running journey, I thought you go to the store, you pick up the color that matches your current clothes, and then you go and you set for a run. And then later on, when you start getting injured, you realize that, no, that's actually a lot more that you need to look into when you're selecting your footwear. So when you're coming to the store, we want to give you that experience, right, of advising you what is the right footwear. If you're this type of runner, you should be running with this. If you're this type of runner, you should be running with this. So how do we translate that into the e-commerce side? So that's why we've been doing so much market research to understand who are the partners that can help us create this type of conversation online. So for instance, once we deploy the new website, you'll have an opportunity to go through, it's not a chat box, so there's actually going to be someone on the other side, but someone that can advise you online of what are the different options, and straight away tell you, do we have stock for that or don't we have stock for that?
And what do you see as the most credible source for this research, Anna? Because I think, like Hassan mentioned, I think most of the businesses that want to evaluate or want to start their journey, it really starts from Google. It starts from Googling what are the products available for us to find solutions to these problems. And then, you have these 9,000 products that you're really working with or dealing with. So what do you see as your most credible source for identifying the right products?
I mean, I wish there was a magic solution and I could say, these are your top 10 tools for when starting e-commerce. But the reality is that, like you said, there's 9,000 apps or Martech tools that you can use. So it's not a straightforward conversation. There is no magic bullet that we can look. A lot of the times it's Google, it's talking to other brands, is definitely talking to our partners like GMG, other partners that we have that have already gone through that process and trying to identify what works for us. But it is not a simple process. I wish it was. But it does take a lot of market research. It takes a lot of reference cross-checking. The other thing we were talking about the other day is that a lot of these companies, they're also based in Silicon Valley, and we know what's been happening there over the past couple of weeks. So how do we guarantee the consistency? How do we guarantee the long-term availability of a tool that when we want to commit to the long term, right? Not just for the next year or so. So it is a complicated process, and that's why I think for most of the global brands it takes longer, because we also want to make sure that we do it right.
Rahul, you come from the hospitality industry. If you could speak about what kind of tools or Martech products have you adopted, and what are you seeing success with?
Yeah, good afternoon all. It's like for hospitality, when it comes to the tools in particular, there is firstly your product itself. It does require a setup of software, but when it comes to the distribution, then it goes to a length. When distribution we talk about, then the property itself, and then the different tools like your PMS, your channel manager. Nowadays, you have the CRM as well, and then you have revenue management softwares as well, which is on the sales part. So the entire journey is for the data. So the data, the first-hand data to collect is the primary setup to do. In that journey, what happens is, like a CRM, when it is going as a CRM, it is at the same time almost 5,000 agencies are going with one stuff at one time. So all are managing their own inventories and setup along with their own customer experiences and the programs they want to learn. So it is the hospitality, like it is a perishable product, it is a room and you are about to sell it at a fixed cost and a fixed price is there. But when it comes to the overall software setup, there are different rate parties there. There is a marketing setup is there. So we need to leverage like 5544% for all, and then we land at a setup. So in this entire journey, like for one room to sell, we are having a revenue management software that is talking to your property management software. Then property management software itself is talking to the client relationship management. And at the same time, now we are focusing more on the loyalty setup. All the brands are moving for first-hand data and the loyalty program now. So the data is like, firstly, the journey start not by hotel itself promoting, but the client somewhere sitting far, which we have no idea where he is. Even he is thinking that I am planning to go to Dubai. And by default, even now there are talk apps on Google, and once you search, immediately the SEO and SEMs come into force. The time you think and one search to the destination. So the best of the flights, the best of the hotels, the best of the services of the town with everything, limousine transfer, you get everything. And when the entire country is striving towards enhancement of the product, then yes, you are all of it. It is all about technology. So that is what I feel, that in all the segments of the hotel industry, technology is very much in, very, very much in.
And what products are you using specifically?
It is like what we are using currently. We have cloud-based hotel time. That is, there was a historical setup by Opera. All the hotels was having PMS as Opera. But now, since everything is remote, after the pandemic, we have learned that rather than going to the property itself, sales to happen remotely, business to happen remotely. But unfortunately or fortunately, hospitality cannot be from home. You have to be at the place. So, but for the sales, for the marketing, for the budgets to release and the discussions on Teams, so everyone is going for a cloud-based setup now. So yeah, from historic, even the software providers like IBM and others, they are also looking for express solutions. Like everything can be done remotely rather than going there. And the ERPs are so advanced now that you sit somewhere and you can connect in minutes and real-time data is going. Just imagine one room inventory is left, like a presidential suite is there. At the same time, somebody is booking in US that one room, and you get the same one is booking from Singapore.
Correct.
Right? So the inventory has to be like in seconds. So now the technology is like, my data will flow in 3 seconds or nanoseconds. Now the presentation is not about this. And now the presentation has turned that, sir, my product delivers in nanoseconds. My God, like, you can like, even an engineer, when he is working on it, he can understand what he is talking. But from a revenue perspective, I am talking of top line, bottom line. Here, the nanoseconds are being counted.
Correct.
So the softwares are like this. And for now, this property management softwares are like 360-degree approach.
Correct.
Like the time you think you are going, you are a corporate, you are a leisure, you are a family guy. And big chains, they take care of you well.
Yeah.
Like even sometime yesterday, I was hearing an interview. They were saying that my last movie was a flop. Satish Kaushik, who just passed away. So he was saying, I went to a very 5-star hotel, and there in my CRM, it was that this is my favorite movie. So now the pop-up came automatically that this is his favorite movie. It was a super flop for him. But it automatically, when he entered in the room, that movie started. So
Interesting.
see the connection that when he is planning, when the data is getting driven.
The level of personalization.
Yes, and personalization is of that level now. Even I'm talking to software companies, you can talk of like the curtain. The curtain you like 40 degrees, sir, it will move that much only.
Yeah.
So the CRM is not about the room inventory or the rate or anything. It's even about the view you want or the curtain you want of that level.
Correct.
This is the level of expertise has gone into the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And after the pandemic, my God, it is again next level.
Yeah.
It is like ever evolving, ever developing. And the beauty is every country is trying to do something new with them.
Correct.
Like a new software coming from US, at the same time something is developed in Singapore.
Correct.
Something is happening in Dubai as well.
Correct.
So we are also here the pioneer of industry itself.
Yes.
So that's how the entire softwares, and they are trying to improvise. Even the way we work, we try to, nowadays you will say most of the startups are there. Most startups are there. So the startups are learning at a very quick speed. Like earlier the software developer will work 9 to 6, but now developers are back to back. And they are waiting for your feedbacks. And they know the market is like year on year, it's on a growth.
Correct.
Yeah, it is not stagnant. So that's how the industry is.
I think you've brought in some very interesting points. One is the nuances of solutions that you spoke about for your industry. I think those solutions exist, in fact, in so many other industries as well.
Correct.
So sector-specific Martech solutions are really the need of the hour.
Correct.
But while some of these products and platforms spend time, R&D, to enhance the consumer journey, there is so much happening in terms of innovation in this space with respect to personalization as well. But after all of this, it comes down to just one thing. How do you measure the ROI of your Martech investments? Right? So, Paras, if I can sort of bring this question to you. You said you're using almost 7 to 10 Martech products. And I'm sure just like we all are on KPIs, I think each Martech product is also on a KPI. So what is your method of evaluating the ROI for the investments that you guys make in Martech?
So some of the tenets of the Martech initiatives that we take, one being automation, second being personalization, and so on. You know, these are some of the tenets. Personalization and automation are the major ones. And then, of course, there is segmentation, and there are other tenets on which you decide that this is the focus area for me, and this is the tool that will help me fix it. For example, on affiliate marketing, for months we were running affiliate marketing. We were working with thousands of affiliates in the industry on a coupon code attribution model. But then we decided to bring in the right tool which will help being that connector between the affiliates and us as a brand. and we understood that this simple tool can help us manage these 3,000 affiliates in much efficient way. So digital marketeers, performance marketeers are now constantly moving towards Google's Performance Max and Facebook's Advantage Plus campaigns, because these campaigns use high degree of artificial intelligence algos, and also there is these campaigns are much more simpler to execute, and these campaigns take half of the time that ad operations team used to take 5 years back. So when you save time, then you spend more time on strategy. So these are some of the simple metrics. For example, how much time you save when you bring in an automation tool. That helps us decide the efficacies. And coming back to the personalization point, I think some great points were mentioned there across the panel. When you walk into to your nearest coffee shop, and the barista knows your favorite order, you prefer soy milk with a hint of whipped cream, and it gives you that warmth. It gives you that special experience when you walk into your favorite coffee shop and they know your order by heart. When I open YouTube, it understands my mood and gives me the playlist and tells me these are the songs you're most likely to to listen. For last 10 years, I either check with my friends on books recommendation, or I just go to Amazon. Amazon knows which is the next book I should be reading because of all the purchases that I've done on Amazon last 10 years. So the personalization engines will always help you deliver a better customer experience, whether you're a Talabat, you're an Amazon, you're Spotify, across consumer tech space. These improved experiences will lead to the entire customer journey funnel improving. Your add to carts will improve, your checkouts will improve, your time spent on product pages will improve, the number of product pages you view in a single session will improve. So there are hundreds of metrics, but then you can always pinpoint certain key metrics that you're going to focus on when you're looking at optimization or personalization.
Thanks, Paras. I think that makes sense. So I think at the end of it, it all comes down to the bottom line, right? So
bang for the buck, I think, is the key tenet, and for successful businesses, I think you need to keep it.
Keep your eye on the bottom line,
ROI.
on the ROI. Yes. If I can just ask, because you seem to be already working and adopting a lot of Martech products, which are very nuanced for your industry. So how are you measuring the ROI? Because a lot of what you guys are doing is with respect to consumer delight and consumer experience, right? So how are you measuring ROI on your Martech investments?
So for hospitality, firstly, if you say that this is the perfect cost for that perfect room, for that perfect day, it never comes. So the ROI is a combined, you can say the budget is there, a fixed cost of the room is there, and a net operating profit after including all these softwares are there. So there is like 70 to 80% of growth is always suggested on top of the cost itself. So anything like a demand patterns, now the software itself is there. Like we have the software which recommend the rates. What is going on Booking.com, Agoda, Expedia, Make My Trip. At the same time, they all are connected via one software. And these softwares are getting the rates recommendation. These rates recommendations are again done by the channel managers, which are taking recommendation from the RMS software. So what happens generally, the cost and the top line goes somewhere out, and we are actually in the marketplace judging for the competition, where the competition comes. So the cost and ROI goes very back, and the actual driver is the market itself. So what happens is the business is profitable, firstly, at the profitable place. The type of revenue generation in Sheikh Zayed Road is completely different to the JBR market or like in a Jadaf market. So the ROI depends on the location itself, what was the cost of acquisition in the entire business, and henceforth it goes like this. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reference that I'm gathering from these conversations on the number of Martech products that we're using and the need for these Martech products to really talk to each other as well. which brings me to the point where of how do you choose the right MarTech product, right? So when there are 9,000 of them, of course, we mentioned, we go through our research, we ask people in the industry, we want to actually talk to people who have used the products and get a first-hand recommendation. But again, you have products and platforms that are doing literally the same thing sometimes with not much variation. So the one thing that I believe we need to look for is what we call as composability, which is that data portability should be easy. So the way you choose your platform is how agile is this platform, what is the composability degree, if I can call it that, of these platforms, how easily can data move between this platform and other platforms that we use, right? So now moving on, I think one very important question that I think we all need to answer is, while we are working on researching and building these MarTech stacks for our organization, we've got to make sure that this is future-proof. And we do have a challenge at hand there, right? Because 9,000 products, many of them startups, capital is getting expensive. Some of them, may shut shop, may not continue support. You're depending heavily on them. And these are some real problems, and we know of what's happening in the market today. I think it's worthwhile for us to discuss some of these points as well. While there's so many solutions out there in the market, we got to make sure all the investment that we put into the business needs to be future-proof. So, Anna, if we can start from you and your quick thoughts on making MarTech investments future-proof.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of industry and the type of company you are. I think traditionally global companies tend to be a little bit more risk adverse. So obviously when looking for tools, we tend to look into the bigger tools, Salesforce, and companies that have been there for a while. Obviously that also means that you have to trade off a little bit on innovation, and you have to trade off a little bit on the quickness to market. But if you're a startup or if you're a new company, then obviously you have a little bit more of an ability to play with the smaller players and to help them grow as well. And I think especially nowadays within the e-commerce market, there's so many different things. The lobby is a great example of such a variety of tools and competitors, and it's becoming a very aggressive market as well. So I think that's where you need to understand is like, how risk adverse are you as a brand, and what can you get from it? So obviously if you're choosing someone that's a little bit of a smaller agency or a smaller app, you might be able to have bigger returns, but then you don't have the long term. But by then you might have learned so much that you can do it in-house. While if you're a bigger brand, then you probably want to go safe and steady and making sure that you can incorporate it across your whole network.
That makes sense. How would you look at this for your business?
Yeah, in my opinion, the most important thing is the relevancy, like whether a certain software is how much relevant for your company or not. So if the relevancy is there, then you finalize few of the products, and after the relevancy, you look for the updates, like how much updates they're gonna provide to you with time. And the other thing is that their O&M services, how good their O&M services are. And the most important thing is that when finalizing after all your parameters, once you finalize a certain product, so you have to see whether that company will go for long term or not. Like let's say if in my company we have implemented Salesforce, so we know for sure that Salesforce is a big company, so it will be there for a long time. But for a startup, obviously if they cannot afford softwares like Salesforce and these softwares, so they might go for a startup software, and there's a possibility that if that startup fails, so they will end up losing their.
Right?
Yeah.
That's some level of polarization that only the large companies can really get.
Yeah.
But those are real issues we have to deal with.
And the other important thing is that once you implement your certain MarTech softwares in your company, so the important thing is that you need to have some experts who have hands-on experience on those softwares. Like in the case of softwares like Salesforce, it is easier to get people from market who are expert on those. So you don't have to indulge so much time on these softwares to make your team learn how to use them. So that's the benefit of obviously using, big Martech technology, big softwares like Salesforce. But if you go for, the smaller ones, so benefit is that their cost will be lesser, but the team to implement those would be tougher. But another big difference between the big software and small software is that big softwares, they do not provide you with so much flexibility. So they might not be 100% relevant for your type of work, but the smaller ones, they are very flexible for your work. And another very important aspect in this is the integration, like how seamless integration your software provides with the other softwares, because obviously there's not going to be just one software. There might be multiple softwares. Even you need a software to integrate all these softwares as well. So this is how technology has come to such a point. So these are the main factors, obviously, the relevance, the integration, and these types of things.
Kirti, your thoughts on this?
So again, we of course believe as marketeers in down the funnel marketing, right? Again, going back to ROI. Again, talking about F&B, I think the out-of-home space is always taken by F&B. And why is that? Does that mean they're not active on social or the digital space? Of course they are. In fact, that's the most easiest space where I can measure ROI. The CEOs sitting in this room are going to be like, where's the money? If you put up a billboard there up, and what am I getting out of that? I'm sorry, I can't measure that ROI. I can tell you how many eyeballs saw it, but how many conversions did I get? As a marketer, it's the most difficult space that you keep convincing the C-suite about, I believe in this. So, right? It's like, no, I don't think that's going to get the money. It's fine. That's where the startups, like you mentioned, is, yes, there is a problem there, but that's our job, right? So there's a company who approaches me and says, we have a chatbot solution for you. And I'm like, what is it going to do for me? It's going to improve your customer experience. Like, you order online and the chatbot is going to say, your order's here and this is where it is, your order's been prepared. I don't need a chatbot for that. I already have solutions who are giving this information out. So do I need it? Yes, okay. We'll give you at a good rate. Am I ready to take that leap of faith or even convince my board that this is, okay, where's the ROI? That's the first question. Okay, so what is going to get for me? It's not enough to say that there's customer experience. Yes, it eventually leads to your ROI, the better experience the customer orders. But would a customer order on my website just because there's a chatbot? Maybe not, right? So that's where the whole struggle is.
Also, how long are you really ready to wait to see the difference or to see the uplift in the numbers?
I would rather run a Facebook ad and I know my CTRs and my conversions and I'm like, here's the money.
Yeah. But again, I think it's about like you said, we all are about bottom funnel marketing, but at the end of the day, what will build a brand is the consumer experience that you are able to create.
Absolutely.
How you're able to enhance the consumer experience through all the touch points, which is literally at the heart of the brand now in the digital era. Yeah. So you spoke about ROI and how you're dealing with the ROI questions. I'm bringing the question back to Paras on, Anna spoke very beautifully about, risk, how risk averse are you? If you're a smaller business, I think you are able to take a lot more risks and experiment with a lot more software out there, a lot more products out there. With larger business, you may not have the leeway to do that. Also, when you've invested 1, 2, 3 years with those platforms or products, and then if they are at the risk of, let's say, not being able to support you, then you have a situation at hand. So, maybe some sort of due diligence, if I may call it that, maybe useful for businesses before they choose their Martech product. So, Paras, what are your thoughts on that?
I think these scenarios don't happen very often. That one of your tool or vendors go bust. Not really. We work with Shipsy on order management system, Fluent for so we use so many tools in our tech stack, and we've obviously done a lot of conversations, in the evaluation round, and then our procurement team also looks at a lot of facets, a lot of capabilities. We have testimonial calls with the existing clients of the vendors. So we make the process very grilling and ensure that we are bringing the right tool for a company as big as GMG, right? So and having a smooth flow, having the services that are stable are also important for our customer lens, right? This is also keeping customer first. So one, we keep the evaluation process very detailed, and second is having that culture of agility. If tomorrow your payment gateway shuts down, we are one of the most reliable partners. They are one of the sponsors as well. But do we have the right talent who can take this situation head on, get into a war room, and get the website back and up in 6 hours? Yes, that's the kind of people we onboard in our team, and that's the culture we build. That if a tool that has a direct impact on our business and the services shut down, how quickly can we, how agile we are to quickly replace it by another.
Absolutely. And in fact, to add to that, I faced a similar situation some time ago where we were invested in a product we were using very actively and they had to shut shop. But what we did in that case is, even before we signed up with them, we asked them to tell us what is going to be their exit strategy, if at all. Right? So what we told them is that, so we got it signed on a dotted line that we'll buy the source code and then use it, or, figure out what needs to be done with that. So I think some of those, clauses that can come in before you start investing in a product might be very helpful in the long run as well. I think we're out of time. Is that right, Neil? Okay, so I think as we sort of all embark on this Martech journey, 9,000 the number is today. It's only going to get more complex as we go forward. Most of the products now, so far have been around social listening, SEM, SEO, conversion rate optimizer, but it's going to get even more complex with AI, AR, VR, Metaverse, Web 3.0, right? So it's only on this increasing and ever-growing curve. So we are all sort of figuring it out as we go along. But this conversation, panelists, has been very, very useful. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience.